structures. His latest epic, 12 Monkeys, is a startling science fiction adventure co-written by David Peoples, who worked on both Blade Runner and Unforgiven. Bruce Willis is funny and strangely moving as a reluctant time traveler who's sent back to the 1990s to help destroy a deadly virus. In Gilliam's unique universe, tragicomic weirdness rules both on-screen and off. 12 Monkeys is produced by Dawn Steele's husband. It's backed by Gilliam's old nemesis, Universal, and it's based on one of the strangest and most poetic science fiction films ever made.
This is the story of a man marked by an image of his childhood. The violent scene which upset him, and whose meaning he was to grasp only years later, happened on the main pier at Orly, Paris airport, sometime before the outbreak of World War III.
12 Monkeys began when producer Robert Cosberg came to Janet and myself and urged that we see Chris Marker's short film La Jetée, a half-hour French film made with stills, and it's a very extraordinary and remarkable film. And we'd heard about it for years and we'd never seen it, even though it's part of cinema history, sort of like there are great books you've heard of but you never read. And we were just stunned by it, knocked out by it.
The only link with survival passed through time. A loophole in time, and then maybe it would be possible to reach food, medicine, energy. This was the purpose of the experiments, to throw emissaries into time, to call past and future to the rescue of the present.
Robert said maybe there was a Hollywood movie in here, and we said we didn't think so. We thought it was perfect as it was, and it would be inappropriate to mess around with it.
You crazy as a loon.
But Robert Cosberg was associated with another producer, a good friend of ours, Chuck Roven, and Chuck has a way of being very persuasive.
They called me back about a week later, and they said, well, we just want you to know, we've come up with something, and we want to get together with you and tell you what it is, but we don't think you're ever going to get it made.
Right.
We think that, we don't even think you're going to be able to get it developed, because when we tell you what this is, you're going to look at us and say, no Hollywood studio will ever give us the money to develop.
Why don't you just take your time and try to explain this whole thing from the beginning? Right.
Janet and I both worked in mental institutions, and we've always been interested in certain kinds of films that deal with reality versus unreality and so on, and we began to see in this project that was part of what Chris hadn't dealt with, perhaps, or that it was a different way of looking at Chris's story.
I don't really come from outer space.
You can't travel back in time. Whoop.
I think what excited me most about La Jetée was the element of the time travel.
Sent me to the wrong year. It was 1990.
1990? You're certain of that?
The idea that somebody could appear, could come right out here, right now, and say that they were from another time.
Where am I? I gotta find him!
And you would just assume that that person was not sane.
5 billion people died in 1996 and 1997. Almost the entire population of the world. Only about 1% of us survived.
Are you going to save us, Mr. Cole?
How can I save you? This already happened. I can't save you. Nobody can. I am simply trying to gather information to help the people in the present trace the path of the virus.
We're not in the present now, Mr. Cole?
When we wrote the script, and at a certain point we realized that it was a very complex and difficult script. I mean, like a piece of music that's kind of weird or avant-garde. And we presumed that there were, of the directors we knew of and who were established, we thought there were maybe only 4 or 5 who could possibly direct this movie. Terry was leading among those.
One of the problems with the script when I read it was that it described this apparent future
as a place that was composed of the detritus of our society. It was a scrapyard of technology. And that was a bit worrying, because that's what Brazil was.
Terry had a history of, a pretty public history on Brazil at Universal.
We've had some misfortunes with unstable types.
And so I just kind of laughed and said, there's no way Terry Gilliam's going to make a movie at Universal.
Well, I thought 12 Monkeys moved on from the emotional level that Brazil was at, because in Brazil, the final film, it wasn't actually what we intended, but the final film, it ended up that the romance was almost an idealized girl. She could almost be his fantasy in the real world.
What do you think? Me?
Where in this one, I really felt the character of Rayleigh, which Madeline Stowe plays, was an incredibly important character.
Mr. Cole, my name is Catherine Rayleigh. I'm a psychiatrist. I work for the county. I don't work for the police, so my concern is for your well-being. Do you understand that?
Let you go. Let you go.
I can't make the police let you go, but I do want to help you. So I need you to tell me exactly what happened tonight. Do you think you can do that, James? May I call you James?
What I love about it is how, that in the course of the film, each of them thinks he or she understands reality at any moment and is constantly being proved wrong.
You had a bullet from World War I in your leg, James. How did it get there?
I don't know. Look, you said that I had delusions, that I created this world. You said you could explain everything.
I can't! I'm trying to, and I can't believe that everything we say or do has already happened. We can't change what's going to happen, and 5 billion people are going to die.
I want the future to be unknown. I want to become a whole person again. I want this to be the present. I want to stay here this time with you.
And somehow the two of them almost give up just try understanding the world and just gamble on themselves.
Have you been here before?
Yes.
When? When were you born?
Recognize this.
I don't know.
Where?
What's the matter?
Tell me. Madeline, tell me.
No.
Madeline, tell
It's
me.
just like what's happening with us.
No, I can't tell you.
Like the past. The movie never changes. It can't change, but every time you see it, it seems different because you're different. You see different things.
Please don't ask.
Vertigo is Chris Marker's favorite film. He's written essays on it. And in La Jetée, there is a scene with the cut-off tree that he took from Vertigo. So there it was in the script. I liked it. I didn't question it.
They walk. They look at the trunk of a sequoia tree covered with historical dates. She pronounces an English name he doesn't understand. As in a dream, he shows her a point beyond the tree, hears himself say,
Here I was born. And there I died. It was only a moment for you. You took no notice.
The whole Hitchcock connection became weirder and weirder in the course of this thing, because not only is the character that Kim Novak plays on the screen called Madeline, but Madeline Stowe is playing the character in our film. And then when they leave the cinema and they meet in the foyer, Madeline has got this blonde wig on, and she's become a Hitchcock blonde.
We have 9:30 reservations for Key West.
In the original script, the character of Rayleigh was a blonde who put on a black wig. So it wasn't like it was planned. It was like the ghost of Hitchcock was interfering with the making of 12 Monkeys.
I just didn't recognize it.
Well, you look pretty different yourself.
It's a very poetic film. It was the sense of the circle going around and around, sense of fatality, of destiny, a sense of loss, of nostalgia, of something almost got but never achieved. And that's what I liked about it. And I think I think we might have achieved a bit of that in the film.
One day she leans over him. As for him, he never knows whether he moves towards her, whether he is driven, whether he has made it up, or whether he is only dreaming.